Amici di Area 52, bentornati, eccoci qua, 12ª puntata speciale Eurolega, Eurocup, L. Solaini e i miei soci, ciao Marza e ciao Paglia, bentornati, siamo vicini a Natale ormai.
Ciao ragazzi,
Hola,
siamo arrivati
chicos.
quasi a Natale. Dai.
Sì.
Sì, no, volevo subito rimproverarvi dal punto di vista dello sfondo, gradisco degli addobbi, qualcosa che connoti un momento, il periodo a cui ci stiamo avvicinando. In particolare Paglia, non vorrei dire
Io
nulla delle tradizioni
metto sulla
marchigiane.
barba le palline
Ma
colorate.
anche un cappuccino da Babbo Natale, voglio dire, per
Quello
quella
per la
cosa.
prossima, me lo tengo
Sì,
per la
ho capito.
prossima, che è più proprio natalizia, no?
Vabbè,
Questa
È
Marza,
un po' troppo buonistico secondo me mettere quelle robe di Natale, non andiamo bene, un agitatore, la coscienza non va bene, cioè siamo cattivi anche nel periodo di Natale secondo me.
va bene, siamo
a
partiti
posto.
fortissimo,
Belli
vedo che
carichi.
avete le idee di una grande confusione. Oggi però è una puntata imperdibile anche perché siamo alla vigilia del quarto doppio turno della stagione, quindi già dopo 14 partite abbiamo senz'altro le idee più chiare, ma un ulteriore doppio turno, perché il doppio turno è come, non saprei neanche definirlo, il padre di tutti gli hamburger, immaginando un menù di quel tipo. Cioè, lì capisci tante cose, infatti ci aspettiamo delle risposte su tanti fronti. Ricordiamo anche che l'Eurocup è ricominciata settimana scorsa, andamento in chiaroscuro, non sono andate bene Reyer e Trento, ha vinto invece la Segafredo, tornano in campo domani la Dolomiti Energia in casa contro Turk Telecom di Ankara, una squadra estremamente pericolosa, e la potete seguire dalle 20 su Sky Sport. Invece mercoledì in campo la Reyer in casa di nuovo contro il Cedevita Olimpia Lubiana. Non mi chiedete, ma è la fusione delle due squadre, poi ne parleremo. Mercoledì invece sempre alle 20:30 Segafredo Prometheas Patrasso, anche questa è imperdibile, sono tutte su Sky. L'Eurolega invece offre due partite per l'Armani Exchange. Apriamo un po' il giro dei nostri topics. Apriamo dalla vittoria dell'Olimpia che è andata a vincere in Costa Azzurra contro il Monaco, che non era in un grandissimo momento e tra l'altro, a parte il campo, come ci dicono le notizie di oggi, tra l'altro noi sul pezzo andiamo in onda quando succedono le cose, risoluzione consensuale ci dicono con coach Mitrovic, non sappiamo il successore. Volete commentare flash sul Monaco e cosa accade? Marza? Tu che sei di quelle parti bazzichi.
Sì, sempre, praticamente. Consensuale mi pare la cosa più divertente di tutta la
Sì,
questione.
un po' sorridere,
Dopo le ultime settimane, il nome dovrebbe essere quello di Sasa Obradovic, quello di cui si parla di più in queste ore. Non lo so, una situazione strana, cioè faccio fatica a pensare che i risultati fino ad oggi del Monaco possano non essere ritenuti sufficienti a tal punto da mandare via un allenatore. Ecco,
perfetti.
ecco qua che arriva, vedi.
Eccoci qua.
Vedi, qua i ragazzi di Eurodevotion sono sul pezzo, Manuel, già subito, via. Comunque faccio fatica a pensare che sia per i risultati. Adesso cosa si aspettava il Monaco dopo 14 turni di essere 11-3 in Eurolega pari al Real Madrid e dietro di una partita al Barcellona? Non credo, ecco. Di più onestamente non si può dire. Di certo il caratterino di Mitrovic non è semplicissimo, visto anche, non dimentichiamo quello che accade alla Svel, dove erano finiti, se non sbaglio, per tribunali con accuse reciproche e tutto
In amicizia,
quanto.
insomma.
Sì, con un Tony
Sì.
Parker abbastanza coinvolto,
Esatto.
coinvolto emotivamente nella questione.
Ecco, questo adesso se avete intuito, quando saremo in tre, questo è il modo mio per tagliarvi. Quando andate lunghi io vi taglio, cioè andate nella finestrina e sapete che Paglia, invece visto che sei l'agitatore, ti chiedo, me l'hanno già scritto un paio di miei amici, far la guerra a Mike James non ha pagato? È una brutta sintesi o non c'entra niente?
È possibile, però in passato poi quello che aveva pagato era sempre stato lui, magari in questo caso è andata diversamente, ha pagato il coach, no? Comunque sì, nelle ultime settimane era stato evidente, no, la tensione con Mitrovic, più di un episodio tra l'altro c'era stato sempre minimizzato dalla società, di lui che rientra direttamente negli spogliatoi senza passare dalla panchina, battibecchi e poi il rendimento che obiettivamente dopo un inizio scoppiettante si è normalizzato, anzi forse è finito anche sotto agli standard in cui ci ha abituato negli ultimi anni, quindi credo che quella sia stata, se non la causa scatenante, quella principale, magari quella scatenante della crisi Mitrovic, perché poi se vai a considerare nel complesso come ha fatto il Monaco fino ad ora, come diceva giustamente Marza, non è che ti puoi aspettare chissà cosa. Il Monaco è in piena lotta a playoff, sì, ne ha perse, adesso non ho sotto mano il record, 5 delle ultime 6 o qualcosa del genere.
Sì.
5 su 5. 5 su 5.
Ah, 5 su 5, ok. Quindi sì, direi che deve essere per forza legato a qualcosa che è accaduto all'interno o dello spogliatoio o del club, comunque non legato al rendimento in generale della squadra, che ripetiamo è sul pezzo comunque.
Marza, in realtà vedi scorre sotto un appunto che abbiamo preso dal weekly di Eurodevotion, ne parliamo più tardi, perché intanto abbiamo già tanti viewers che ci stanno seguendo, che ringraziamo, perché è arrivato il nostro ospite. Ovviamente tutti sono collegati già perché era l'ospite la grande attrazione, non certamente le nostre chiacchiere. Infatti stavamo guadagnando del tempo per permettergli di arrivare. Adesso lo vedo collegato, per cui lo mettiamo senza indugio in onda. No, scusate, mi trema un po' la mano perché non è che lo faccio tutti i giorni. Eccolo qua.
Eccolo qui.
Eccoci qua, with Dimitris Itoudis, coach of CSKA basketball team. Hello coach and welcome to Area 52 o 52 in italiano.
Hello everybody. Thank you for having me. Thank you for inviting.
Hello coach. So we start with our few questions about the season, and I thank you so much again with your disponibility to be here, answer our question. The first is very easy. Is about your balance of the first part of the season. You start struggling because of the injuries, in particular in the first game. I was in Milan and I saw Milutinov going down, and I swear I thought about we were not so lucky in this part of the year, the 2021. So starting from that game, you grow up so much, and this moment you're balanced.
Well, nobody likes injuries, and especially when it happens, repeatedly. It's kind of frustration, but the most frustrated is as a player for sure, that he has to be sighted. And on that game also against Milano, we had also Grigonis got hit on his back after an elbowing, and he stayed out almost a month and a half as well. So it was not only Nicola, but it was also Marius. And then we had several other injuries, but it's very, very important that we have them now back all together, that we grew up as a team, that we had developed the self-awareness, and it's always important for the people and the players that they're present. We did have some struggles, which is normal. The EuroLeague is a marathon, and especially when you have also VTB in between with trips and etc. The availability we had in the gym, we had been called to play a lot of games consecutively on the road. So those are some of the facts, and not excuses, just facts that accumulated at that certain time of period. But the most courageous fact is that players are breathing healthy, and the team is breathing health. So, and right now it's for us to evaluate when we're all together what are our potentials, because until now we could not have a clear picture of what we can accomplish, or what we can play, what kind of basketball we can play.
Beh, la risposta ovviamente di coach Itoudis non ve la traduco per intero, ma chiaramente per dare le grandi linee, 4 punti in particolare, ci ha confermato in effetti che l'inizio con gli infortuni non solo di Milutinov, ma anche Grigonis a Milano si fece male, e in generale anche le condizioni degli altri che a turno hanno saltato gare non l'hanno aiutato, soprattutto per una questione di mettere insieme la squadra, di lavorare in allenamento per cui c'è poco tempo, perché non soltanto c'è l'Eurolega che è una maratona, come diciamo sempre anche noi, copiandolo, ma c'è anche la VTB con i viaggi e le organizzazioni, che quindi quando si va a giocare a Krasnodar e poi si gioca, sono viaggi impegnativi. La salute dei giocatori è la cosa più importante. In questo momento però si rende conto che c'è questa salute e si sta rendendo conto che stanno crescendo. Quindi diciamo che adesso, da questo momento, coach Itoudis ci dice possiamo vedere dove possiamo crescere, perché siamo al completo, riassumendo in modo banale, ma diciamo per darvi un'idea. Marza.
Coach, thanks for being here once again. And I'm asking you something coming from the game of last Friday in Kaunas. Well, you started the season with those problems that you mentioned and so, but Friday we can say that you found finally the real Milutinov, let's say, healthy. And so I'm asking you two stories. How can your defense improve with the presence of Nicola protecting the rim, and how much your guards and forwards can do different having him protecting the rim? And for example, I saw in that game that you forced 19 turnovers, while the average that you were forcing along the season was about 13. If that is something coming from the impact of having Nicola protecting the rim.
Well, on your question, which is have multiple, let's say, topics which we can get into and analyze. For every player that comes from the long period of being absent, like Nicola stated, more than 6 months out because of the surgery in his shoulder. By the way, everything started over there in that gym in Zalgiris Arena when he got hurt, and after that, it was against Bayern that that was the last game that he got actually out, and then we had to go in surgery. So for every player to come back, it's not easy. So that's a process. Nicola came slowly back. His first game was against Unix on the road. Played 10 minutes. Try to catch a rhythm, his breath, the contacts, get rid of thoughts that might come into his head of what is the area that can be a restricted area, how he can jump, how freely can fill in motion and everything. And that takes time. Guys, this is not a PlayStation that you get a player and put it over there and he's performing immediately. That player is a human being, and he has thoughts, physical and psychological issues during the practices or games. So that will take time, and it took time also for Toko. It took time also for Grigonis. It took time for Nicola to come back. Obviously, we signed Nicola to be a point of emphasis for us as an organization for CSK. And we did not have the luck, let's say, to have him all the season last year, and we miss him a lot in this part of the season. We hope, though, and we pray that he's going to stay healthy because he's very motivated. He has high standards and a work ethics, and obviously, on your direct question, he can be a point of emphasis also on the defensive end, because he's a big body. He knows how to use and protect the rim. He's playing good the verticality, and obviously he packs the paint. Now, the other part of your question regarding the 19 turnovers and the 13 that it was an average, let me say that 13 turnovers as an average, that's good for a team to force 13 turnovers. That's good. 19 though, it's a lot, and of course, that's a combination. Never is a job of a big or a guard alone. It's a combination of how you are determined and decisive in order to help, and also players, regardless of the coaching strategy. You can give them that type of defense or another type of defense. That doesn't mean that it's something wrong. It's about how much you practice that and how much players are feeling comfortable into that system, and they trust the system. So if they trust the system and the process, then they're going to really execute the plan, and you're going to see them really executing and forcing turnover, deflecting, and running for every ball. So this is pretty much what happened in that game against Zalgiris, and in most of the games. Even though we were not having results in the beginning of the season, our team, this year's team, you can say he's not a defensive good team. We have pretty good defenders and individually, but we need just all this to put it together, and we can help each other.
Il coach ha detto, riassumo un attimino quali sono i concetti principali, partiamo dalla fine, giustamente ha detto che la cosa più importante quando si parla di difesa, parlando delle 19 palle perse a cui hanno forzato lo Zalgiris venerdì rispetto alle 13 che sono la media che di solito forzano, innanzitutto ho sottolineato come 13 non sia un cattivo dato, anzi che è il 19 che è eccezionale, ma la cosa più importante è che il coinvolgimento di tutti i giocatori, che siano difensori, e sottolinea come ci siano dei difensori importanti nella sua squadra, o che siano qualunque altro tipo di giocatore, sia credere, diciamo, il famoso trust the process, diventato famoso anche in NBA, credere nel sistema e a quel punto essere nella situazione più nella loro zona di comfort maggiore. Su Milutinov in particolare ha detto che innanzitutto ci ha detto una cosa che non sapevamo, che il primo colpo, diciamo, per l'infortunio dello scorso anno era venuto proprio alla Zalgiris Arena, dopodiché c'era stata la partita con il Bayern che era stata quella che aveva causato il crack che mise fine alla stagione, e dice chiaramente reinserire un giocatore come è stato anche per Toko Schengelia, come è stato per Marius Grigonis, non è come la PlayStation che prendi un giocatore, lo metti dentro e puoi giocare tranquillamente al suo livello, ci vuole tempo, ci vuole abitudine, eccetera eccetera, e di conseguenza queste cose necessitano di tempo e sono parte del processo del lavoro che stanno facendo. Paglia, vai.
Hi, coach. If I'm not wrong, this is some season number 8 for you on CSKA's bench. Only Lazo with Real Madrid has a longer streak on a EuroLeague bench. How important is the possibility to work in a club for such a long period in order to stay at the highest level as you are doing with CSKA? And in the past, there were concrete possibilities for you to leave CSKA.
Well, thank you for your question, because that's as before we talk about defense, and that's all about, in basketball, is all about synergy. How good you can have collaboration with your teammates, the space you're covering, the timing, and everything matters within a second. And it's a matter of synergy. Is the same when you have to do with your assistant coaches, and also, of course, with the managers and the presidents and the sponsors. So I'm happy that you put that question on the air, because our long being over here together, as you said, we're working on the 8th year, is because Andrei Vatutin and all the sponsors, they see that we can fit together and we can evolve together. We are developing several skills, each and every one from his position, and we're trying to do our best from our side to bring joy and happiness to the fans and to the sponsors. Are we going to make some mistakes, some wrongs? Yeah, of course. Something is going to happen out there. That is, for me, actually, to be honest, and I am honest, I'm trying to gather from this show, from tomorrow's book that I'm going to read, or tomorrow's meeting that I'm going to have with my player or my associate or another coach from other sport, how much knowledge I can get from whatever I'm doing. So that means that you're ready to evolve, you're ready to develop, you're ready to suck the knowledge out there, and you can get knowledge. If I would be of those guys that I'm saying, like I know everything, I gotta lie down, that probably there is over there close to the end of your career, you should just make a retirement. Obviously, it's a lot of commitment, it's a lot of professionalism, and for us as coaching staff, we can say that we're blessed to have had all the time, and we continue to have such a great collaboration. We have had all the possibilities to work with no problems. The financial stability and the fact that we can have good players, elite players, players that they can build a good chemistry, because it's not about to go out there and buy or sign 12 MVPs. That doesn't mean you're going to have the best team. The team needs certain roles and significant roles and players that they're going to do different job from others, so they can fit together. It's all about chemistry. It's not about having 12, as I said, MVPs. So we're blessed in CSKA that we have this stability, and we talk in the common language. We know that we have a lot of pressure for the result that comes with a job, and that comes with the my expectations to. I put more pressure into myself and to my assistant coaches than the job requires itself. I'm happy that right now on the 8th year, we have two facts. This is the third generation that we're called to coach. If you go back to 2014 and you see the players for 2019, so now we're on the third generation, and that also requires time. It's not just like that. It's not going to happen just like that to have all this kind of automatism, adapting the philosophy, knowing each other, stand for each other, going through adversities, fight obstacles, face and get punches out there, handling defeats, handling good wins or so whatever. So that takes time. And that's the third generation. But going a little bit back, we're also proud as a club and as an entity, but also as a group of people that we're working with, that we have had more than 22 or 23 new European champions. So this amount of number of players that I'm telling you, first time they became EuroLeague champion in their professional career, and that means a lot for CSKA Club, and we're proud that we're part of this organization.
Ovviamente la mia domanda era incentrata sul quanto sia importante, visto che il coach Itoudis è all'8ª stagione al CSKA, quanto sia importante per restare ad alto livello la possibilità di lavorare appunto per un lungo periodo sulla stessa panchina, e ovviamente il coach si è detto grato di poterlo fare e ha rimarcato molto alcuni concetti, collegandosi alla domanda precedente di Marza, appunto il fattore della sinergia, diciamo, per costruire un sistema difensivo efficace, ma poi estendendo appunto il ragionamento a tutto quello che è l'organizzazione del club. Ha parlato di un'evoluzione costante della sua esperienza personale, ma proprio del club in questi 8 anni, questi 7 anni per adesso, e ha sottolineato il fatto che appunto il suo CSKA sia di fatto alla sua terza generazione, di fatto, perché quello che era il CSKA nel 2014 non lo era più nel 2019, non lo è più ora, proprio perché c'è stata questa continua rigenerazione, questo continuo aggiornarsi, questo continuo evolversi appunto della squadra, e lui è grato di poter lavorare e poter continuare a farlo all'interno di un club che comunque gli permette di avere tutta la stabilità economica, ma non solo, per farlo al meglio, insomma.
Perfetto, Paglia. Coach, 2 weeks ago we had Daniel Hackett as a guest in our show, and he told us that Alexei Shved arrived in CSKA, I would say, very silently, very, I would say, tiptoed, and that was really appreciated by the locker room, since he was known as a superstar status. I would like to have you describing the moment in which you and Andrei Vatutin decided to make an offer to Alexei, and what did you think he could bring the most to your team?
Well, first of all, Andrei has his eyes and ears open all the time. He's working based on that, him and Natasha and everybody in the club, to see the possibilities we have out there in the market. And we are always, open-minded in order to see what is going on and how we can become better. So that's his priority, and this is something that the fans should know. Other than that, regarding Alexei, we were following what happened in Khimki, obviously, and we were following the most important thing, what it was happening in his soul and in his heart. Allow me to say that we had, I assume also Andrei had, not I assume, I know that he had several talks with Alexei, but I had also 5 or 6 talks before we get into the concrete offer and to get into the negotiation. And because we know each other many years, of course, as an opponent, I talk to him as I do with all the players that we want to recruit. And I talk to him sincerely and from my heart. And honestly, what he has to change or what he's bringing to the team. And Alexei was concrete and sincere from the first conversation. And I'm happy that he brings exactly what he has said in theory. Now, in the recent time, he brings it out on the court. the most important thing is not only what I think, but what his teammates think. As you said, Danny Hackett. Everybody likes to play with him, so he's making a tremendous effort on the defensive end, and he does things that cannot be translated onto the paper. Sometimes there are some blocks, steals, or so whatever, but it's not only that. When Welbeck is trying to beat him one-on-one and he can't drive against him, that cannot be written on the paper. But we evaluate as coaches what are the strengths and what are the probably weaknesses that we might face during the game. So right now we have one more player that he's really brings his talent and his creation. He's going also through the adaptation, even though he feels at home, but still adapting and getting into the new system with new players, it takes time. I think lately, Alexei, he have found also a good pace and a good, he's in a good phase of being ready with his body, because he was facing also a kind of micro injuries. The fact that he was dressing, that doesn't mean he had not a problem with his shoulder, for instance. So that disturbs a lot the shooters, as you know. But now he's back there, and we're all happy to have a healthy players, as I said, and we're happy to have another player that he's very determined and very decisive on what his task is and how he can help the rest of the teammates.
Allora, il coach ha detto, partendo dall'inizio, che innanzitutto Andrej Vatutin e tutto lo staff del CSKA ha gli occhi molto aperti sul mercato, sempre seguono tutte le situazioni, e Šved è una delle situazioni che hanno seguito da avversario, avevano gli occhi aperti su quanto stava succedendo al Khimki, e hanno parlato, quando hanno cominciato a pensare a lui, ci ha parlato tante volte il presidente Vatutin, ci ha parlato lui 5 o 6 volte, almeno prima di fare un'offerta, prima di andare su qualche cosa di concreto, però ha aggiunto che non è tanto importante quello che lui pensava di Šved, ma quanto Šved fosse determinato a portare al CSKA, entrando in un'organizzazione, sapendo quello che la squadra aveva bisogno e sapendo quello che lui avrebbe potuto portare alla squadra. Ultimamente Šved, dopo un adattamento per cui ci vuole tempo, assolutamente, dopo aver messo a posto alcune cose riguardo alla sua spalla, che sappiamo tutti quanto possa essere importante per un tiratore, si sta adattando a queste cose sempre meglio, ci vorrà ancora del tempo, però sta facendo ad esempio uno sforzo difensivo notevolissimo, che aggiungo io, nessuno di noi gli riconosceva in passato, direi, e questa cosa è molto apprezzata perché può portare tante cose, ed inoltre è molto apprezzata e importante che sia apprezzata dai compagni, come ad esempio ci ha detto Danny Hackett un paio di settimane fa. Paglia, vai.
Coach, there are more or less two streets you can walk to become a coach. Being a player and then making the jump from the court to the bench, or starting since you are a young guy to work to be a coach. Can you tell us the story about how did you fall in love with basketball, and when did you say, okay, I'm going to be a basketball coach?
Well, I have talked with in many interviews about my history and how this happened. It's kind of a karma. It's like a call I had. I don't know how we can otherwise describe it that, but I started playing soccer, like also my dad used to play, and actually we had the same coach. Unfortunately, he's not in life right now. Back then I had a long hair, and he didn't like long hair, so he kicked me out from practice. And I literally, what we say in life, when one door is closing, the other door is going to be open. So one door was closed for me, but that was actually an extra boost and an extra motivation to find the love I had towards basketball. That was around 1985, 86. So before EuroLeague, Eurobasket that Greece had won with Galis, Giannakis, Fasoulas, Fanis, etc. This great generation of Greek basketball players. And I moved there, and I started playing. I started being having the first coach, as I said, and then I took a decision to go to Yugoslavia, and particularly to Zagreb, where after my search, just imagine that we're talking about 1987, 88, no access to internet, informations are not that easy to get. So I have to, make a lot of phone calls, travel a lot to gather information, but I wanted to go to be taught by the best, and it was between Belgrade and Zagreb, but Belgrade did not have the specialization in basketball. So you had to finish the university, 4 years of university, and then to be in a special school of basketball to be a coach. But over there on the second year, first of all, Zagreb still is and was back then in between the two first universities, talking about the physical education and kineology in Europe. Was competing with a German faculty, and still there are in position 1, 2. In 1987, it was the Universiada, University Basketball Games, that they were held in Zagreb. So therefore, they built all these great facilities for the university, but also for this championship, where, by the way, Duda Ivkovic was a coach and Toni Kukoc was the MVP of this university games. And I was lucky when I went over there because, it was exceptional. We had the best locker rooms, the best teachers, the best facilities, the best basketballs, the best courts, everything. So I was so thrilled and motivated and driven to go and be taught that even though my first year was about to learn the language, because I didn't know the language. So my first year, I had to go to a special school and to spend all the year to get 2 certificates of language, because that was a must. You cannot be in the university if you don't speak the language. So, but even though I was just learning the language, I was attending the school and I was attending